There appears to be more seeds being planted for another potential meeting between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns down the line. So we'll see what's going on there. We'll also check out what's going on with Charlotte Flair, Dominik Mysterio, and more. Let's start things off with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte has been a key part of WWE programming for nearly a decade now, and everyone just saw the absolute instant classic match that she had with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39. So there's no denying how big of a role she's playing in WWE. But reports are now claiming that WWE may be without Charlotte Flair for a long time as she takes a break away from the company. Charlotte Flair missed the entire second half of 2022 with a WWE hiatus. She got married during that hiatus and went through some other difficult times as well, but she finally returned on the last episode of Smackdown in 2022. Charlotte's return was massive because she instantly dethroned Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's title and would go on to hold the title for an entire road to WrestleMania. And like we saw at WrestleMania 39, her title reign came to an end as she passed the torch and the title to the young and up-and-coming Rhea Ripley. So, reports are claiming that Charlotte Flair is back on hiatus and informed the company about her break shortly after WrestleMania. There's no timetable for Charlotte Flair's hiatus. Maybe it's as long as her 2022 one. Maybe it's a bit shorter. But there's just no information out there on its length right now. But it's safe to assume that maybe she'll be out of action for a few months, and maybe a show like SummerSlam could be a spot for Charlotte's return. It's WWE's second biggest event of the year, and it often includes several big returns and surprises. As a matter of fact, the last 3 SummerSlams have all featured some big returns. 2020 featured Roman Reigns' return. 2021 featured Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch, and 2022 featured Bayley and Damage Control. So it's starting to become this little yearly tradition for us to see some major returns at SummerSlam. So that's most definitely a potential spot for Charlotte's return. But for the time being, the SmackDown Women's division will be led by its new champion, Rhea Ripley. It's not Rhea Ripley's first world title reign by any means, but Rhea is currently having the most momentum she's ever had. So a lot of fans are hyped to see what this reign turns out to look like for her. It's no secret that Dominik Mysterio has truly been a big breakout star for WWE. He had his initial run by being by his father's side, then he teamed up with his father, and then he had the big heel turning moment of joining the Judgment Day. Then once WWE started having those moments of having Dominik and Rhea attack Rey Mysterio, and especially after Dominik's arrest, his character and charisma just went to another level, and of course led us to the version of Dominik Mysterio that we see today. And according to the latest new reports on Dominik, they all claim that all of the WWE higher-ups are allegedly extremely high on Dominik Mysterio, and how there's a lot of big plans in store for him on WWE television. And just a few days after that report came out, there appeared to be some major hints at what some of these big plans could be. Dominik Mysterio appears to be preparing to do something in the ring with Bad Bunny at Backlash. This all started when Bad Bunny ripped that weapon out of Dominik's hand at WrestleMania to make sure he didn't cheat against Rey Mysterio. Then a few nights later on Raw, we saw Dominik Mysterio confront Bad Bunny and get in his face about that WrestleMania moment, which also led to Damian Priest choke slamming Bad Bunny through the commentary table. And of course, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest have so much history together in WWE, dating back to 2021. Damian Priest was the one who took Bad Bunny under his wing and even teamed up with him at WrestleMania 37. But things are obviously different now, with Damian Priest now being a member of the Judgment Day and Bad Bunny being an ally to Rey Mysterio. So a lot of fans believe that the route WWE is teasing here is Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest and Dominik Mysterio at Backlash in a tag team match. Bad Bunny will already be at the event as a host, but put him inside the ring in front of his hometown and it should be even more electric in there. So that appears to be what we could be seeing there at Backlash. As far as the other Judgment Day members, a lot of fans are pushing to see Rhea Ripley defend her title against Zelina Vega at Backlash. Zelina Vega is Puerto Rican, so fans think it'll be a special moment for her if she has that title match with Rhea Ripley taking place in Puerto Rico during Backlash. And it sort of makes sense for that matchup to happen, because Judgment Day already has issues with LWO and Rey Mysterio, so it sort of works out perfectly if Zelina steps up to challenge Rhea. Finn Balor also spoke about Edge on Smackdown after WrestleMania, and fans are beginning and hoping that their feud doesn't continue. It's been nearly one full calendar year of the feud between Finn Balor and Edge, and everyone thought the Hell in a Cell match was the finale. So if Edge and Finn's feud still continues after that, a lot of fans will start to grow tired of this story, especially considering how Edge has said several times he wants to retire in summer 2023. It would be nice to see him mix things up with some new opponents instead of facing Finn Balor till the end of time. So that's something that the fans are paying close attention to as well. But even more big moments and matches are on the way for the Judgment Day. Now let's get back into one of the unfinished stories of Roman's title reign. The first big unfinished story is of course Roman's issues with Jey and that tension there. But the other unfinished story that Roman has had is with Seth Rollins. They met at Royal Rumble 2022, had a great feud of Seth Rollins successfully getting into Roman's head by using their Shield memories together, but the match ended in disqualification. So when you go back and look at the list of everyone Roman has overcome during his title reign, there's an asterisk next to Seth Rollins' name because Roman didn't technically defeat him. It was a disqualification finish that saw neither man pick up the win over each other, but this story never continued. Roman would go on to continue his story with Brock Lesnar later that same night, and him and Seth never crossed paths again after that. But if you've been paying close attention to Roman and Seth on social media, and some of their comments about each other in multiple interviews, it definitely seems like the both of them are planting serious seeds for another meeting between the both of them inside the ring sometime in the near future. It's even more interesting that we're both recently asked to name their biggest WrestleMania 40 dream opponent, and they both actually picked each other. Roman Reigns had this to say during an interview with ESPN when he was asked to name his dream opponent for next year. Quote, "I think Seth is a good answer. We have a lot of open-ended history. I think there's a lot of competitive brotherhood there. There is an estranged love due to our past history. There's always been. And this is just Seth. An underlying friction to where we can easily butt heads." End quote. And Seth Rollins had this to say about his dream opponent for next year's WrestleMania. Quote, "There's a few of them out there, man. I mean, realistically, Roman Reigns is someone that I have only wrestled on pay-per-view and singles match twice. Yeah. And you look at a lot of the other, say, long-term rivalries, Rock and Austin. They did 3 Mania matches themselves. 3 of them. 2 of the main events, I think. You look at Cena and Orton, and they had 1 million." End quote. So depending on if The Rock isn't again, depending on the direction they take Cody Rhodes in, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns may be the perfect WrestleMania 40 match main event. Roman will be around 1,300 days as champion by that point, approaching 4 years as champion, and he only faced Seth 1 time during those 4 years. And it of course featured that disqualification match. So it still feels like a fresh matchup between 2 top superstars that have a lot of history together. And not to mention that Seth Rollins is one of the very few names left that seems like a realistic threat to end Roman's title reign. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.